Welcome to the Wieser podcast, coming to you from the JED TV studios on the campus of Purdue Northwest in Hammond, Indiana. Now here's your host, Jim Wieser.
You know, you got some major things happening in this world. Jim Wieser, of course, was the head of the Democratic Party up here and has been active in Democratic politics for a very long time and has taken a huge amount of criticism from me for the things that were not happening in Lake County and the Democratic Party. But it turns out you almost just got to sit and wait it out, man, and things will happen going your way because that's what's happening right now.
And that's the way of the world.
You know, a long time ago, you and I talked about James Carville, and he said, "Hey, everybody, just sit tight and don't do anything." And you disagreed with that, but to some extent, Carville is being vindicated right now.
Yeah, maybe Carville was psychic and knew that Jeffrey Epstein was going to rise from the dead and haunt the Republicans and Trump, and knew that there were going to be economic problems with the imposition of tariffs that are just scatterbrained, quite frankly, and are a drag on the economy. A president who just shoots from the hip, and misses the target every freaking time. You don't like the labor statistics? Fire the head of the Labor Bureau. You don't like the interest rates? Get rid of the chairman of the Federal Reserve, even though it's an independent agency. It's never ending. It's like, I was sitting the other day trying to figure out, what do we talk about on this show? It would take us 3 hours to even remotely cover what's going on in one day in the Trump administration, and it's like a triage. You're like out and like watching a scene in MASH, and you're out in North Korea and you're doing the best you can and you're triaging patients, and here you just have to triage one problem after another and decide, okay, which is the priority? What is it? What's the priority today? Is it tariffs? Is it redistricting? What is it? It's just insane.
Well, to some extent, it's the Roy Cohn model, and that just keep it, changing, keep the attack, never admit to anything wrong, but always on the attack, and try to control the narrative.
Yeah.
And to some extent, it is a very effective method. And I see a couple of people that are using that same method. I don't know if you ever listened to the Midas Touch podcast.
I'm familiar with it.
Yeah, you got to listen to this one, Jim, because I'll listen to both the conservative and the Democratic ones if they're good. And I know this is the Democratic end of your podcast, but Tucker Carlson is really good, by the way. Whether you like him or not, he just presents well. But the Midas Touch podcast does the exact opposite. They're exactly opposed to Trump, and they bring out everything that he's doing wrong, and they do it every 12 hours if they have to, or every 6 hours or whatever. And it's constant. And they have overtaken Joe Rogan a lot of times for the popularity when things are happening.
Yeah.
You got to, so basically they have taken that tactic of attack all day long, and they got like 6 million subscribers on YouTube and other tens of millions of people. It's crazy, but it is that tactic. And I always thought it was really effective for Trump to do what he did. Attack. But also you have to have other topics if you're getting hammered like he is on Epstein, and we'll come back to that. But a very big one that affects us here in Indiana is, if you're listening to this podcast down the line, right now the Democratic legislators from Texas are right down the street here in Chicago.
Yep.
Because they don't want to vote on a redistricting that would basically give Trump 5 more House seats. They are now talking to Indiana to do the same. What do you think the possibility is there?
Well, I don't know. What difference does it make in the final analysis? Texas is going to try to do 5. First of all, let me back up. Redistricting in the midterm between census is absurd. It's, in my opinion, unconstitutional. It's outrageous. It's undemocratic. And to think that they're doing that just because the President of the United States says, I have to have it done. I need it. I want it. I don't care what the people want. That's not what I'm president for. I got my own agenda, and it's going to help me and my family. That's what it's going to be, and I want that. And that's what they're dealing with, and they fall right in line. And so Texas actually takes steps to do a redistricting. Redistrictings are based, whether we like it or not, on the census figures. Let me tell you something. Census figures, 2020 is the census, 2021 is when the figures come out. That's like 3.5 years ago. You try and tell me that there's been a significant change in 3 years in any precinct or any location in Texas. No, there hasn't been. There's no justification for it other than we want them to do it. It's no different than calling up the Secretary of State and saying, hey, find me 1,100 votes. I need them. I want them. I got to have them. That's the only way I'm going to win. I got to have that. Same difference. So he does the redistricting. Then all of a sudden, Gavin Newsom says, hey, two can play the game. We'll do it in California. We'll match you. Yeah. And now Indiana. Think of the absurdity. Think about this. A state that has 7 of 9 congressmen are Republican. Both senators are Republican. The governor, the Secretary of State, the Attorney General, Republican. Both houses of the legislature, supermajority Republicans. Why are you redistricting? Instead of redistricting like Texas, which is a distraction, and it's exactly what Trump is a master at, maybe they ought to say, hey, we just had a horrendous flood here that cost us millions and millions and millions of dollars, that cost us hundreds of lives. And, oh, by the way, put that aside. Oh, and by the way, we lost some funding from FEMA because it's being shut down. We didn't get the help we were supposed to get. We're battling this on our own. This is the state's obligation. Oh, wait a minute. Put that on hold because we got to redistrict because the President of the United States says we have to. We're being operated, or the country is operating not on policy or programs. It's being operated on the whims of one person. And it's so detrimental to our democracy and so detrimental to our government. And here in Indiana, I just pointed out the Vice President of the United States coming here for that purpose. I mean, what a waste of resources.
Vice President was in town, was it yesterday or the day before, or whatever, to talk about redistricting Indiana. I think the practical implication is you're really not going to do anything to Andre Carson.
No.
The practical implication is, could they redraw our seat here in Lake County and Porter County and Northwest Indiana to make it more favorable to, say, a Randy Niemeyer running against Mervan. Mervan's the representative here. I mean, you look at it, they could maybe gain one seat, maybe, if they really drew a script.
Yeah, but why? Why? What's the public purpose of gaining one seat when you already have 7 Republican seats out of 9? There's no justification for it. I mean, zero.
That's wrong. There's plenty of justification for, if you have the power, you can do whatever you want, and that I mean, there are people listening to this right now on the radio, maybe not as a podcast, but that are like, yes, let's do it. Let's get rid of Mervan. Let's go at, screw the Democrats. Let's do whatever we can to make their life miserable.
Okay, I agree with that. That's not a justification. That's taking the power away from the people to elect their duly elected representatives. That's saying, screw you people, screw you voters, don't even bother to come out at the election because we're going to take the guy out. We're going to try to take the guy out immorally, illegally, unjustifiably, because we can. That's not government. That's not America. That's just not us. But that's what's happening.
So that battle, the Texas battle, if you guys are listening down the line, it is taking over the news cycle. That battle could be coming right here to where we're standing. And as I look at it, they're not going to be able to. It doesn't matter how you draw the lines around Indianapolis. There's plenty of Democrats in. They got to somehow Andre Carson or somebody's going to get elected out of Indianapolis. They're going to come after this one. And that's how I looked at it.
Well, of course.
And Randy Niemeyer was in here the other day. I'm like, what are you doing? And I got the feeling that, they're pretty giddy about how things are going. And maybe if they redraw this could be a closer race.
I'm not disputing that at all. Not at all.
But this is battleground zero here.
I agree that the potential is there for that purpose. I also know that whoever the Republican candidate is going to get his ass kicked. I know that. I could tell you that. In all my years involved in the politics of Lake County, the one thing I've seen now that I've never noticed before is group after group, ad hoc group after ad hoc group, everywhere across this state, and particularly across the 1st Congressional District, are out in droves and saying, we're sick of this crap. We're tired. You're wasting our time. You're exhausting us. You're worried about redistricting in Indiana when it isn't justified, isn't needed. And I have a report. A report I've been looking at for years, Jim. I did it as a local official, even as a local official. CNBC has a best state for business study. They do it every year as a subset of a much larger study. And they award points to states based on a whole different things. Crime rates, environmental quality, health care, all that stuff. They better find a new rating chart because there will be no environmental quality. There will be no health care the way things are going. Indiana.
Near the top.
3rd lowest in the country. When you take the criteria they use, which I just gave you a smattering of, and I got it here, and I've seen the report, 3rd lowest. Tennessee, lowest in the country. And Tennessee's is primarily because of their crime rate. I had no idea what their crime rate was like. Tennessee's the lowest. Indiana, well, we were way up there in the stratosphere. We were 7th before the most recent one. The most recent one, Indiana, 3rd lowest. And I'm talking about really low. The ranking is low. I mean, the next lowest, Utah, Indiana gets a 73 out of these possible 265 points. Utah gets 87. Indiana, Tennessee, and I'm trying to think of what the second one is, and I can't, the 3 of them were so low on the ranking. Now, you could challenge the ranking, you can challenge the study, you can challenge the categories they use. The fact of the matter is there are issues and problems in this state that need to be addressed. But instead, we'll see if we can knock out the congressman in the 1st Congressional District. And the only thing I could think of is I saw what Frank said in the paper. Frank said it's reprehensible. I can't think of a better word. It's reprehensible. It's not.
Yeah, but you see, but think about that. I mean, from a public approval, you just listened to a number of MAGA supporters call me on the previous show that I was doing, and they are upset over the Epstein thing, right? And Trump's handling of it, and they're questioning him all the way from Joe Rogan to Tucker Carlson to Steve Bannon. Everybody's kind of like, man, this is wrong, right?
Yeah, they are, no doubt.
I just looking at it from the outside, calling balls and strikes, this is another issue that could actually work in Democrats' favor. It's like, hey, you're going to mess with democracy by just redrawing the lines and before the census comes out? People are like, they believe in democracy. They believe in that. Well, you're just going to tilt the table, and you could get independents that are like tired of that.
Oh, that's a great point. I think it's the first time, I believe it to be the first time that Trump's weaknesses are showing, and the first time it's actually had an impact on all the variety of issues. You pointed out before when we started the show. He's a master at deflection and distraction and putting it right back at you and doubling down and all of that. He's a master at it. This time, it isn't working. And one other thing, I've seen the criticism of the Texas legislators, the Democrats, for leaving the state to avoid the quorum, to prohibit or prevent a quorum. And I've seen that criticism. Where is a much more justifiable criticism when the Speaker of the House of Representatives just suddenly adjourns the Congress, sends everybody home with budget coming up, reconciliation things coming up, rescission bills coming up, all kinds of things coming up, to avoid the Epstein problem and to figure out what the heck are we going to do about this.
All right, let's talk about that. This is the Wieser podcast. If you're listening on the radio, you can get Wieser anytime. Just go to anywhere you get your podcast, WIESER podcast.
Okay.
So, Epstein, you want to take phone calls? It's up to you.
I'll
It's your
take a
call.
call. Yeah.
It's your podcast.
Yeah, no, we'll take a call.
All right, take some calls. Hey, you're on the air. How are you? All right, there you go.
That's my favorite call.
Now I got to teach her how to. Adriana, teach her how to hang up on a dial tone. Okay. All right. Any other ones? All right, take some more. Hey, you're on the air. Go ahead, hit next. Hey, you're on the air. How are you?
Oh, I'm well. How are you?
Good.
I was just wondering if we still had a chance. We were talking with the Democrats. I'm just wondering if anyone had any opinion on the amendment of the Special Interest Alien Reporting Act of 2025 that was to deport any illegal that was driving drunk, but the Democrats vetoed it. And I just wanted anyone's opinion on why that law for the safety of everyone on the road was vetoed by that party. And if so, how could I continue to possibly support them if that was my choice of party?
I have a couple comments on it. One, I will admit to you that I am not at all familiar with the law. But secondly, I don't know if you're talking about a federal law or a state law. And third, where either federal or state do the Democrats have any power to veto anything? They don't veto.
Oh,
First of all,
they didn't.
They can't veto that. Veto is the an executive position, so they can't veto it. They may oppose it for whatever reason, but they can't veto it.
Correct. That's what I'm. Right. We can argue the semantics, but I think you know what my point was. If they didn't veto it, I just got I was distracted before I called. So what would your opinion be still? Why would they veto that?
I don't mean to avoid anything. If I knew the substance of the legislation, I'd be more than willing to comment.
I can tell you.
I don't think we have time. I'm happy to talk to you about it.
Of course we don't. Well, I don't either then. Have a good day.
So what happens on the air when we do it live a lot? It happens on both sides. Like if I'm kind of ripping on, I ripped on Obama a lot, and I would get Democrats that would call in and they would have kind of like, well, what about this? What about that? It was basically some kind of talking point off of the shows. Well, same thing is happening now that Trump is taking some lumps. There's a lot of people that are just seething right now that anyone would talk about it or bring it to attention. There's a lot of other heavy dyed red Republicans that are like, no, we have to take a look at what's going on with the Epstein case. In your mind, what is going on with this? It has a weird feel to it. I don't understand it. How do you understand it?
Well, I understand it as to well, let's back up. When you start, or when you govern, in many instances based on conspiracy theories, it's ultimately going to come back and bite you because they're unfounded, they're unsubstantiated, they're not factually based. And if something blows up like this blew up, you have no cover. You have no, or I don't want to say you have no, you struggle to find a way to respond to it. You make a commitment to your base that all this information is going to be divulged, that there's a list, which turns out there was no list. There's a list of all these people. There was no list. And then all of a sudden one day you're the appointed attorney general of the United States, who should be representing the people but is one of Donald Trump's personal attorneys, says it's over, it's done, there's nothing there. Well, man, you've just opened the floodgates. There is no way you're going to recover from that. And so what they're trying to do is figure a way to do that. And this stuff with Ghislaine Maxwell is beyond belief, that the Deputy Attorney General of this country would go see a horrendous sexual predator, convicted, put in jail for 20 years, and talk to her about whatever after she's been convicted, after the case has been over, after everything has been closed, and then suddenly 2 days later she finds herself at Club Fed. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? That people are onto that. They get it now. They get it. And like Trump says, well, I can pardon her. I don't really know anything about it, but I can pardon her. But I don't know that I'm gonna. I could grant clemency, but I don't know that I'm gonna. Well, that tells me that's what he's gonna. Think about that. I mean, think what that means to the foundation of our criminal justice system. It's mind-boggling. So they're sitting around. That's why Congress ran away. That's why Johnson said, "We got to figure this out. What are we going to do here? We're caught between a rock and a hard spot. We don't know how to get out. So we're not going to worry about the issues we should be dealing with for the country. Let's figure out what we're going to do about this sexual predator." It's absurd. It's absolutely. It's like it's national kabuki theater. That's just what it is. He
is Jim Wieser, Wieser Podcast. Jim, I know you have to get out of here, so we're going to end it right now. Go get wherever you get your podcasts, Wieser Podcast. Until next time, we'll see you later. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, James.